Alright, good evening everyone and welcome back. Back out on the beach again tonight with my dad. And instead of, just turn that down. Instead of hammering the Solent trying for a flatty like we have been doing for the last few weeks, decided that we're going to come out the back of the island because we've got a little bit of a weather window. So for the last sort of, well, it feels like forever, but it hasn't been forever. It's been southerly winds and very high southerly winds. So back of the island's sort of been inaccessible, and when it has been accessible, I've been at work and it's just not really been feasible for me to go out the back too much. So this time, got off work early, back of the island's looking lovely. A little bit of a groundswell because it's been quite rough, as I said, for the last sort of few weeks, so not really having too many breaks in between that either. So perfect night to come out. You can probably hear the sea in the background now. There is a fair bit of motion there. Nice swell rolling in, but not too rough, so should be quite good hopefully. But yeah, tide tonight is a 4.6 metre, so I've set up basically at the top of the beach. I can go back a little bit further if I need to, but I'm hoping that it doesn't get to that. There is a couple of lads fishing down to my right, probably about 200 yards down the beach, but as far as I know, where they're standing, you get pushed off at high water. So unless they know something I don't know how long they're going to be there for. But there's every chance that there could be a little bit that's been hollowed out by the waves and they can get back into it and stay away from the high water mark. But as far as I know, I don't think that's possible. Definitely hasn't been the last few times I've been down here. That's completely lost behind the high water mark, but I could be wrong. But yeah, 4.6 metre high water is supposed to be at 11:30, but it's turned early and it's probably over halfway up now. So we're fishing 2 to 3 hours of flood and then maybe a couple hours of the ebb. And to be fair, the last couple of times I've come here, the better fish have turned up just as it started ebbing from obviously coming away from the high water. So hopefully we should be in for something. It'll just be nice to fish for something a bit different, as I've been hunting flatties for the last 4 or 5 weeks, as I said. So come out here, I'm happy to catch anything tonight. But the target, if I had to pick one, would be a painted ray or an ungee, but I think painteds are more likely where we are. I've seen way more painteds come out of this spot than I have undulates. So actually, I don't know if I've ever seen an undulate come out of this spot, but yeah, a ray is a target of any type, but any other fish we're happy with. Just coming out to wet a line, hopefully get a few fish. So yeah, I'll get these rods set up and then I'll talk you through it. Alright, so tonight I've got a few different baits for me. I've got a pack of anchovies. Yeah, they are anchovies. Pack of sand eel, pack of cuttle, and then in here I've got a couple of cuttle left over from last session, and then a pack of squid as well. So I've got loads of bait. I'm probably not going to use, well, half of this I wouldn't have thought, but cover all sorts of different bases, make a few cocktails up, and yeah, just see what's getting the fish, and then whatever's getting the fish, we'll keep fishing with that. So yeah, I'll get these cut up and get a few baits prepped, and I'll show you baiting up, and then we'll get these rods out. Right, so here what I've got an anchovy. All of my baits are still sort of frozen, so they're not the best, and my squid's definitely still frozen, but this cuttle I can use. So I've got an anchovy, got some cuttle. Just going to whip these two together on a needle. These baits are a bit mismatched, to be honest with you, but I need a bit of a longer piece of cuttle, but that squid's still frozen solid, so I'm not going to be able to use it for the second. But it is what it is, it'll work for a sec. Might just trim the bait down a bit just to make it all slim and the same size, but come on, you bugger. There we go. So yeah, just whipping this together. Yeah, I will. I'll just trim that anchovy end off a little bit just so this cuttle's the same size as it, but that's what I've got at the minute. Bit of cuttle, bit of anchovy. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this anchovy off to the same length as that cuttle. Now, I'm not going to talk you through this rig because I've used it in quite a few of my videos recently, but this is going to be put onto a Bagnall bar. So for those of you who don't know, Bagnall bar, really good long distance rig. Probably the best, well, not probably, the best long distance rig in my opinion. So this is just going to be used to pump one out as far as I can. And the other rig I'm going to just drop in a half distance really, just to try and cover both the bases, just to make sure that we're not overcasting fish, and then if all the fish are in close, then we'll just drop both the rods in close. That's that done there. Get my pennel down, wrap it twice, out, wait there, let me just make sure that's good. Wrap it twice, out through that cuttle out the top of it. So then I've got a big hook bait coming out the top, a big hook point coming out the top, and then one coming out the head. Right, so the first rig we got going out, this right here is a 3-hook flapper. It's technically a 2 up, 1 down, so you've got 2 hooks that are going to be popped up. Just get them into shot. 2 hooks that are going to be popped up. They've both got 2 small squid tentacles on, and then the one that's going to be dropped below the grip weight, that's got a big chunk of cuttle. So the top 2 are size 2 worm hooks, and then this bottom one's a 3/0 Varibass, just a normal J hook. So that's hopefully going to attract a ray or something of a bit of a better caliber, and those top 2 hooks are going to be popped up trying to catch a fresh pout or a whiting that we can use for a bit of fresh bait, because that is an unreal bit of bait if you can get it for this side of the island in the winter. So I'm going to put this one out first, and I'll show you what's on the other reel. Right, so this second rig, as I said before, is a Bagnall bar. I'm not going to talk you through it too much because I've spoke about it a lot in my last few videos, but basically a metal bar, you clip everything into it, your bait punches out behind. The minute it hits the deck, imp flicks up, releases your big long hook length, and it fishes beautifully on like flat sandy beaches, which this area of brook that we're fishing tonight, I'm not sure if I've said if we're fishing brook yet or not on the video, but the area we're fishing of brook tonight is actually pretty sandy, but if you go left or right, you're in a whole world of ledges and rocks and reef. So where we're fishing right now is a patch of sand, and this rig is perfect for it. So hopefully we can keep off the structure and not lose it. That'll be amazing. But yeah, we'll get this one out and then we'll settle in for the rest of the night. Right, so that's both the rods out. One's got a Bagnall bar, one's got a 3/8 flapper. Just going to get some baits prepped up for the rest of the night. To be honest with you, this tide's coming in pretty quick, and I think I'm below the high water mark, so I might have to move back pretty soon. But we'll see how we go. Yeah, we'll see if we can't pull out a few fish. I'm pretty optimistic, to be fair. It feels nice to be fishing the back of the island, where I've been in the Solent all but one time for the last 6 weeks. The only time was when I went to Sandown, and that was the first video on this new channel. So yeah, hopefully we can get something that'll be worth the time. Right, so as I said earlier, we're fishing brook tonight. We're fishing right at the bottom of the chine as you get down from the stairs by the car park. If you go anywhere left 30, 50 yards, you're onto rock. If you go down to the right 100 yards, you're onto sort of flat, ledgy clay ledges, which you can fish on top of and be all right. I've not personally done it, but I've heard that you can. But it's a bit hit and miss over there. It's good for bass and conkers and stuff, but obviously we're trying to catch a ray. So we've come right to the bottom of the chine when you get down, and then there's just a patch of sand in front of you here, which even though it's not big, does manage to actually harbour a few rays here and there. So I know of 3 decent paintings that come out of there towards the end of last year when me and Dad and Owen were fishing it for a little bit. So they are here. We just might have to pluck through a few dogs and pout or straps, or it might even take a few sessions, but I know they come out of here, so we're starting here tonight, and hopefully over the next few sessions here we'll manage to get one, because I've not had a ray since the middle of November. Admittedly, I've not fished from too much, but I've not had one, so about 4 months really, which is a long time to not catch a fish. Well, a ray that is. So yeah, right place. The reason I'm using cuttle tonight is because when I've been walking along the beach with my dog recently, and my dad said the same thing, there's been loads and loads of fresh cuttle bones washing up, so I'm assuming the big adults have come back into breed. So they're sort of a bit of a natural food source at the minute. There's not too much else naturally around the island at the minute. Obviously shore crabs and stuff like that, but for the most part, I think cuttlefish are definitely going to be on the diet of some of these predators. So with all these bones washing up as well, they must be getting killed out at sea. Maybe this stormy weather's having a bit of a toll on them, so I'm sure these rays and congers and bass are all feeding on them at the minute, so that's why I picked cuttle for tonight. And also it's just a really robust bait. So if there is a few crabs or something like that about, it takes a little while for them to get through it, and they can't be stripped off the hook too easy, so that's part of the reason why I've chosen it as well. Right, so just moved up to the top of the beach now. So far no bites for me. I'm pretty sure Dad hasn't had any either, but we're above the high tide line now. You can just see all of the seaweed and stuff there, so hopefully it's not going to come too high. And to be honest, that's probably a little bit higher than where it actually is, because the swell's been pretty big last few days, so it's been pushing it up a little bit extra up the beach. So yeah, just refresh the baits. The Bagnall bar got tangled up, so we're giving it another cast. If it gets tangled up again, then it's just because it's sat in that swell, and that swell is just constantly moving the bait up and down, and it just ends up piling up on top of your weight if there's not enough tide out there to keep it going. So And to be honest, Brook isn't a very tidal bay, so it does tend to happen sometimes. Same can happen in Totland and places like that where there's not a lot of tide. If there's a bit of swell or a bit of motion, even when you use earth bars and stuff like that, it does just end up piled up on top of your weight, unfortunately. So if it does that again, we'll switch it out for a different rig and just play around until we get one that fishes nicely in this surf. But yeah, so far so good. Time is 8 o'clock, so plenty of time left to catch them it. And yeah, should still have a couple hours after this flood tide, I reckon. So hopefully we manage to pull some out. Right, so I reeled that Bagnall bar in last time and it's all been tangled up again, so I've gone for a different rig this time. This is a clip down paternoster, so about a 3-foot rig body. You've got a swivel at the top here. It can, your hook length can move between this bead and this top swivel that you tie your main line onto. It then comes down to this bait shield, clips in, very, very simple. Obviously you cast it out, the bait shield hits the water, pops up, releases your hook length, and you've got a 2-foot hook length here flowing. The reason I picked it compared to a Bagnall bar is because the Bagnall bar ties on at the bottom by the weight, and this ties on at the top. So when this unclips, it's impossible for this to get caught round the weight. Obviously the Bagnall bar, the whole hook length's piled on top of it, whereas this is going to unclip and it's going to fish like this. So your weight's going to be anchored, it's going to fish. So it might go round, it might get tied around your main line a little bit, but it's never ever going to be nowhere near as bad as the Bagnall bar for everything getting bundled up and really, really tangled up. So that's the reason I've gone for this rig. It's also quite good at casting long distance as well, due to the fact that it's all clipped down. And you can get a reasonable sized bait on it and cast it quite well still. So those are the reasons that I've changed. So I've noticed the problem, rig's getting tangled up, I've seen what the problem is and I've changed the rig to adjust for that, so hopefully this one will fish well now. But yeah, no bites so far, which is not ideal. We've been here about 2.5 hours and I haven't had a bite, and Dad said he might have had a rattle, but none of us have had a fish, so hopefully that changes in the near future. Because I have not blanked for, not in 2026, I know that much, but I haven't blanked for a long time, so hopefully it doesn't happen tonight. I'm not sure this is a fish on here. Doesn't feel like it, but gave me a weird slack line and there's a bit of weight there. I don't think there's a fish on here, but if there is, it's coming in real easy. Is there a fish on this? Yes, there is. Tiny little ray. That was a weird bite for a little tiny ray like you. I mean, oh, right, well I wasn't actually sure if there was a fish on this or not, but turns out there was. Let me just turn my bloody head torch off, can't figure it out. Turns out there was a lovely little painted on it. Only a small one, maybe £1.5 maybe, but we take it. I couldn't figure out if there was something on there or not because it was coming in really easy, and then when it got to the surf I just felt a few little nods just bringing it down, and I thought, that might be a fish on that. And then when I got it in, I just saw a little bit of a wave splitting behind something, and I was like, yeah, I've got a fish. I didn't want to jinx it, but come out tonight for a little painted, and we caught a little painted, so wouldn't mind one a little bit bigger, but I'm equally as happy to just catch one because it was looking very, very bleak for a minute. So just to catch one, I'm made up with. And that rig change from the Bagnall bar to the clip down paternoster has worked out really well. So yeah, happy days. Try and get a little photo of him, and we'll get him back. Right, I'll probably have to hold my mic up just to me so you can actually hear what I'm saying, because it is real swelly now. It's coming to the top of the tide. Just had that little painted, and to be honest with you, I'm made up to have caught that. Been a while since I've caught a painted. I don't even know if I caught a painted the whole of last year, so really happy to have caught that. I was using quite a big bait. It fell to a squid and sand eel wrap. Probably the most cliche, I don't know if cliche is the right word, but the most classic ray bait combo in the UK, I expect. But yeah, fell to that. It was a really weird bite. I just saw something a little bit off. It was a very, very tiny knock and then just a little tiny bit of slack. So I reeled down to it and it just gave me a little bit of slack again, and I thought, oh well, I'm probably due a bait change anyway. So I just reeled into it and struck into it, and there was weight there the whole time, but the problem when you're fishing in a swell like this is that your weight's dragging along the bottom. You've got so much resistance from these waves going backwards that sometimes it just feels like there's something on there and there isn't. And then when I got almost all the way in, like I said before, I just felt a few nods and a dig, and I was like, that didn't feel like tide or swell. So yeah, got that little sucker to the beach. Lucky to hook him really, because it was quite a big bait for that ray really. But yeah, the bait's actually really good, so I've just whipped it back onto the hook and sent it straight back out. And yeah, first fish of the night rather, and I'm really happy that it's not a blank. And not only is it not a blank, but I've caught a beautiful little ray, so I'm made up with that. Hopefully we can get a bit of a bigger one, or maybe Dad can get one now. But if not, we've caught a pucker little ray, so I'm more than happy with that. Hey up, that's a big slack line. Still slacking me off. That's a fish. Wow, that come out of nowhere. Oh, let me just go around here. Get out of the way of that rod. Feels a bit better as well, actually. Oh. It's in that wave there. Yeah.
Walk back if you have to.
I have to come on this next one, I think.
Yeah, walk back down and then back up.
Oh, f*** off! You bastard! Foul looked. Right, so I've been absolutely fooled. I foul hooked this conger and I was dragging it in sideways, and it was giving me a little shake, so it felt just like a ray. So I've been proper baited there, unfortunately, but I've dodged these for 3 or 4 sessions in a row now, so I was due one. But oh, it's done me dirty. I was so sure that was another ray, and it felt fairly decent where I was obviously bringing it in sideways through that swell. So he has done me there, but it's another fish, just not the one that I thought I was going to bring out of that surf, unfortunately. But we'll get him unhooked. Cool, right, it's time to pack up now. Time's now 11:30, so we've been here since about 7 o'clock fishing. Fished pretty well, to be fair. Kept changing the baits regular, but we didn't end up with actually many fish at all. When we got down here, we saw how surfy it was, and obviously it's been rough for quite a long period beforehand, so we thought there was going to be quite a lot of action, but There hasn't been any little fish about really. We've only ended up with 3 fish, so I had the little painted. Dad had a pout of about half a pound to 3/4 of a pound, and then I had that small little strap as well. So not that many fish, but a quality little ray for me that to be honest with you, I'm over the moon with it. Because I can't even think if I caught a painted last year. I caught ungulates, caught some good ungulates, but I don't ever actually remember catching a painted last year. So I think that might be my first painted for a little while, at least, maybe 2 years, which is lovely. But yeah, we thought it was going to fish a little bit better. It hasn't. I'm not sure if this full moon's played a part in that, because sometimes when the moon is up, and it has been clear all night, so sometimes when the moon's up, them little fish don't feel so safe to come out and feed, like pout and little whiting and stuff. So might have played a bit of a part in it, but been a good little night for me. I'm more than happy with that. Made a nice little change from getting hounded by dogfish and pout in the Solent, which is what it has been recently for me, really. I've -1 bass. I've probably had, I reckon I've caught 40, 50 dogfish in the last, well, 5 sessions maybe. It's been a bit relentless. So that little ray was a bloody welcome sight, let me tell you. But yeah, just want to say thank you for all the support on the videos on the new channel. It's doing really well. I'm getting the same views on this new channel that I was on my last channel, and that has over 1,000 subs more than this one. So it's quite cool that we're managing to pull that off. And the channel's growing quite quickly as well, so getting quite a few subs each video, so thank you for that. But yeah, I'm going to get these last casts in, pack everything away, so thank you for watching. Appreciate the view. If you like the video, drop us a like, and if you're new around here or you've just found out that I've got a new channel, drop us a sub to help me out. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.